Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer, and I'm typing out The Great Gatsby. Why? Because that was something Hunter S Thompson did because he wanted to see what it would be like to write a masterpiece. Now that I've started this project 7 months ago, I need to finish it. So, join me every Saturday until I finish this whole novel. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Typing Out The Great Gatsby with me, Elliot. Hi, how's it going? I'm wearing a headband today. This might be my new thing, as my hair has gone through multiple awkward phases in the process of me growing it out. It's in awkward phase number 4, where it kind of just droops into my eyes, yet it's not long enough for me to tuck behind my ears. Headband really gives me a different personality, doesn't it? Makes me seem like maybe more of yo, hey. I feel like I'm more of that type of character as opposed to someone who is typing out The Great Gatsby, also wearing this sweater. This sweater represents the changing of seasons. It is, when does fall start? I guess it's fall. I guess it's been fall for 3 days, 2 days, something like that. No one's counting. No one's keeping track of that stuff anymore. There's more important things to deal with, like The Great Gatsby. That's what everybody wants to know. Where are we in The Great Gatsby? Where are we? We're kind of in the fall. Actually, we're in the climax. This is the heat of it. Midsummer point of if The Great Gatsby is a year. I think we're in August. So maybe as we type, we'll approach September, but I feel like we're in the August of the story. I don't know what I'm saying. Just saying things to... Don't want any dead air on the show, even though it's a show of a guy typing. Yeah, so this is what you can expect today. Thank you for joining me again. It's a delight to have you here. Otherwise, it's just me talking to my phone, typing on my computer. The fact that you're watching this makes this all worthwhile. Whoever you are, wherever you are. Cheers. We'll have a nice stiff drink. What is it? A gin Ricky. We'll have a gin Ricky on our final show. Whenever that will be. I feel like doing this has been a part of my life. It'll be very sad to say goodbye to this project, but I'm so ready to say goodbye to this project. I'm ready. This has gone on too long, just like this pandemic. Too long. Let's get started. I've wasted enough of your time. You're here to watch me type. So I'm not gonna, hold that from you any longer. Can't find the words to say how I feel. Okay, let's get to it. The last time that we left off on the story, what actually happened, I don't remember. So much has happened in my life previously up to this point that I'm really not storing much of the Gatsby stuff. Oh yeah, Tom and Gatsby. I'm also beginning to hate that word, the name Gatsby. Is that even a real last name? Gatsby? I don't know. I'll research that later for like a Fitzgerald fun fact or something. I'll find other people. Maybe I'll find a real J. Gatsby in like the phone book or something. Oh, okay. What am I trying to say? Oh yeah, last episode, previously, Tom and Gatsby were arguing. They're not having a good time. Everybody is feeling really awkward. They're in New York or something in an apartment. There's a wedding going down below. Here we are. They're about to leave. They're about to head back home. And our intention today for typing out The Great Gatsby, what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for something that Fitzgerald got away with. I know that's very vague, but we often talk about like, oh, that's like bad writing, but we can always draw examples from like classic literature. It's like, oh yeah, that person spent like 2 pages describing a doorway or a woman's breasts. If they could do it, I should do it too. It's like, maybe not. So we're looking for something like that, where we feel like, this maybe isn't working here, but he got away with it. So we're looking for that, if that makes sense. I'm honestly running out of stuff to look for, and I don't want to be like too repetitive, so we're trying this one. This one we're trying. We'll see if we find anything. I'll have to go off on a limb, and it's probably going to be quite subjective. So it's my opinions here. All my opinions are my opinions. Annoy you. Ghosts, even ghosts, plural. Give me 1 second. Alright. Sorry about that. Forgot. Just gotta check occasionally because I forgot to put. I'm recording this on my phone. I forgot to put it on airplane mode. So if anybody calls me, that would be a problem. That would be a problem. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. But I might get up, check occasionally. My worst fear is to do all of this and then have to do it again. I think that's every content creator's nightmare. Like, as a writer too, you're like, I'm so inspired. I'm like creating all this gold, and then suddenly like the software doesn't save, or the file corrupts, or something like that. Nightmare. I've been writing more on like a notebook. I find that it just gives me a little peace of mind that something exists in the physical world. I don't know. I'm a big supporter of technology. Like, big fan of technology over here. I just don't trust me with technology. It's just one of those things where all it takes is just, one piece of code to be off and everything's messed up. And it's just nice when you have feels more assuring to have something in the physical world. I mean, everything is up in the clouds and all that stuff. It's like, okay. In times of uncertainty, it's nice to have this. What am I doing? That's weird. That's weird. Just, I suddenly remembered that today's my birthday. I'm 30 now. This might be something that Fitzgerald got away with. Got away with sneaking in information. I don't believe you. That's the thing about I think that's the thing about first-person narrative as well, is the unreliable narrator. You can't really chalk it up as bad writing sometimes, because it's just like, that's the narrator's perspective. That's what the narrator is saying. That's how the narrator thinks. It's not really the writer. It's just trying to put you into the shoes of this unreliable storyteller. And then you're like, wait, is the writing bad, or is it just the narrator that's bad? I think that is something. Very heated online debates are happening around that concept. So stay tuned, where you will surely find a definitive answer for that, just like everything else in life. Everything has a definitive answer. And if you don't believe that, you're wrong. You are simply wrong. So, it's a little break here. So one of the ways to describe bad writing is that it feels like a love letter from the writer to him or herself. If it ever feels like it's really self-indulgent, it feels like it's only serving the purpose of, I don't want to use the word masturbate, so I won't. But it feels like that. It feels very pleasuring. I don't want to use that word either. I don't know the words for it, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It loses that poeticness, like it doesn't serve the story or the characters or anything else. It just serves the writer's need to like flex their rather vocabulary or this turn of phrase they really like. So that is something that we're looking for, and I don't think I'm skilled enough to look for it or to find it or to like point it out and say, oh, there it is. But you really need to look deeply. I think this all works. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. The young Greek, Michaelis. Uh-oh. Mr. Wilson. Okay. This is like a big jump, like a scene change, like a hard scene change. Kind of wonder why they decided not to just break it into a separate chapter. These are all good questions. I don't have the answer to any of it. I'm quite surprised this Wilson character is still involved in the story somehow. He seemed like such a unimportant side character from the beginning. I think that's one of the things where when you're writing a really short story like this, it's important that every character serves a purpose, like more than existing in one scene. And that's really tricky because it's so easy to just add another character as you go, right? It's just like, oh, I need another character for this main character to talk to. I'm just gonna add another one. And it's through the editing stage that you can kind of trim it down. It's like, can I give this conversation to this character instead of creating a whole new one with this whole new backstory and relationships and emotions and desires and descriptions. And yeah, I think that is one of the hard things to do when writing, especially a first draft. You kind of, I catch myself, I'm like, should I add another character here? Why not? Let's just keep it going. The other character is somewhere else. I don't know how to link them together, but yeah, that's a good thing. It's Michaelis. Michaelis? Let's see what he does. Oops. Sorry. Okay. Whew. All right. So this is a very strange way, because we can assume that the story is being told from Nick's perspective, but it's like Nick isn't even around. So how does he know this? I think this is a very tricky section to deal with, and I'm sure it created a lot of problems for Fitzgerald. I could just imagine him trying to work around this sequence. I wonder how he's gonna loop it all in, or if it's just gonna like stand alone as its own thing. that? Is that how I do it? I'm not sure. It kind of breaks there. Wait. Did she kill herself? Is that what happens? Loose like a flap. Okay, no. I hate that. Well, that was intense. I think Fitzgerald got away with a lot of stuff here. I mean, it's well written. Feels like it's just thrown in there. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interestingly done. It kind of just comes out of nowhere. But this is probably the climax of the story, right? It's when everything changes. I guess also the way Nick gives himself credibility to tell this story is by referencing the newspapers. So one can assume that after all these events happened, he discussed it, he talked with people, read the newspaper, and he's sort of like a detective, an investigative person. He pieced the story together himself. How did he know? I guess a lot of it was taken from the account of this Michaelis character. And so he's using him as like his source. Interesting approach to give details about a situation or an event that the narrator wasn't physically there to experience. So there you go. Interesting. That's actually interesting. But Fitzgerald, you got away with it. I think you got away with it. Surely there was another way this could have been approached, but it worked. Who am I? Who am I to criticize it? But just from this experience of typing it out, it did feel a little, whoa, this came out of nowhere. Second here, let me just. Everything's good. Everything's good. Okay. Another section. Ah, the irony. I like that. It's clever. Kind of shows what these characters don't know, right? I think it's a little salt in the character's wounds, if you will. I'm missing all these commas. Commas. I talk about this often enough for me to talk about it again. But writing is all about choosing what details to reveal at what moment, and just kind of figuring out these two scenes now. It's so easy to take this scene where Nick, Tom, and Jordan and flip it with the one that we just had of the Wilsons and their accident and the breasts flapping. You could say, like, I'm sure Fitzgerald played around with it, which he thought would be more effective. I'm just wondering if you could rearrange it and just see which would be more shocking, you know? Where am I? Oh. I missed a page. Okay. I'm wondering if this is the right time to do my speed typing thing. Might not be, because this is a really kind of juicy part, but I feel like this is an appropriate time to do it. There's no rules here. So this is the part of the show where I time myself for 1 minute and try to type as many words as possible. My personal best, I believe, is 80. I haven't reached it since, and I've been saying that every time now since I hit it. I wish I never did, because it gives me a false impression of what I'm capable of. Also, I've been kind of tired these past few episodes, so they weren't really my best. But today I feel good. I feel like I could do some stuff today. Let's try it. Even though I see the word myrtle there already, I have trouble with that word. Just where does the Y go? Where does the Y go? All right, I'm gonna start. Oh, I think that was pretty good. That duck sound. I think I might change it up to something else. Next time. Be night owl. That's what it's called. Okay, let's see how I did. All right, so I didn't finish this last word here. It sucks when you finish in mid-word and then you lose where the word is, and you're just staring. Ever do word search? Which one did you like more, word search or crossword? I did a lot of word search because it doesn't require too much thinking. You're just kind of staring at a piece of paper. 67. That's not too bad. Thought I would do better than that, but I had some slow moment. I think the word is source. Oh, find the source. Clamorously. Bear garage. It's heavy. It's a heavy part. Wasn't really ready for it, to be honest. looks weird. I'm not completely sure what's happening. This might be something that Fitzgerald is getting away with. It's really just showing the kind of not able to fully understand what's happening, and it's kind of disorienting, and I think this conversation actually gives a good, how would I say, like just a feeling that, oh, it's not clear what's going on, or no one really fully knows. Just the styling. Sorry, I'm using em dashes and hyphens, and I'm just gonna leave it as that. This part is really hard to write. Fitzgerald's definitely getting away with this. Here we go. Oh boy, I don't like typing this part at all. Yeah, this is a mess here. Might look like bad writing, but something he's getting away with, right? Blending words together. Just the way people talk. If you could justify making people talk strangely, and this is a moment of kind of disorienting scene, like a crime scene. It actually makes sense to have it here. Okay. I'm gonna finish off this page. I'm kind of just in between scenes. This is not the best way to structure my episodes, but I'm doing what I can here. Let's do Fitzgerald fun facts. This is the other part of the show. I feel like I just lost energy. This scene, this part just sucked all the energy out of me. All right, but I got a good one for you today. Fun fact. So Francis Cugat, I think that's how you say it. Francis Cugat is the artist who, jeez, it's so hard to read my own writing. Francis Cugat is the artist commissioned to create the first cover art for The Great Gatsby in 1925. The work was called Celestial Eyes. You might recognize it. It's obviously not this cover because this cover kind of sucks. It's like the worst cover. If you look at all my thumbnails, you get to see all the different editions. None of those so far are the Celestial Eyes. It's probably the most well-known Gatsby cover. It's the first one with the lady's eyes. Well, Fitzgerald loved it so much that he wrote it into the story. The Francis Cugat was working on this art while Fitzgerald was still finishing up writing. So he saw it, he was like, this is great. So he added it into the book. I think we already passed the part where it was referenced. It's a very brief part where they pass by a billboard of a fake optometrist. That was where he added the detail of the woman's eyes and whatever. So there you go. Sometimes the cover art influences the story. I don't know if that happens anymore. I think it could. But I also think it's kind of rare. Books are so aggressively marketed these days. I don't know if they do a step backwards like that. It's not kind of like in line like it was before. I don't know. Book covers kind of, how can I say this? They're not as artistic as they used to be. Prove me wrong. They're very graphically designed now, in my opinion. These are my opinions here. Let's continue. Let's finish off this part. Let's finish off this episode. I think we're almost there. Better not be Gatsby's car. It's probably Gatsby's car, right? I don't know. I'm making predictions here. I think when you can reveal the details in the right moment, the reader kind of forces them to jump to conclusions. I think that's when you do it right. It creates this anticipation. It's like, I need to know. I need to keep going here. It's a kind of cliffhanger. think that's where we'll stop today. That's where we'll stop today. That was good progress. Whoa, what an intense. I didn't expect to come into today with such a intense scene. It was honestly a little jarring to be typing all this stuff. It kind of sinks deeper when you're typing it. I think if you were reading these past few pages, you will be like blown through it. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. It's like such a cliffhanger moment. It still feels like a cliffhanger moment, but I'm tired. That's enough for today. And we could kind of piece together what happened here. As someone who doesn't remember the story that well, it's becoming clear what has happened. But yeah, like I said, so much of this is just like fast-paced dialogue, but when you're typing it out, you really sit with it for a moment longer. And yeah. Well, thank you for joining me again for another episode of Typing The Great Gatsby. This was a fun one. I think we learned a bit about what Fitzgerald got away with. It was really interesting seeing the structure of these two scenes because it was such a pivotal part of the story to see it this way. It's very interesting. It gives me a lot of ideas of how to approach these climactic scenes. And yeah, that's that. Thank you once again for joining me. I'll see you next week.